The PSP was first released in Japan in December 2004 and became the first handheld that really tried to challenge Nintendo in this space. Hey guys, my name is Zach and this is GG Fistbump. Today pag-uusapan natin ng PSP and susubukan natin sagutin kung sulit pa ba kumuha ng handheld na to in 2021. Pero bago yan, intro muna. For those who are new to my channel, it would really help if you would click on subscribe, then hit on that notification bell to stay up to date with my latest videos. I do gameplays, I do modding and emulation tutorials, I do reactions and unboxing, and I also talk about video games in general, just like this one. Okay, let's start. So the PSP was part of the 7th generation of portable consoles, along with the Nintendo DS. And kung titignan natin ang sales, nag-dwarf ng benta ng Nintendo DS ang PSP. Nakabenta ng 154 million ang Nintendo DS, habang nasa 80 million naman ang PSP. And kahit na halos 70 million ang naging lamang ng DS, hindi naman ito naging total failure sa part ng Sony. 80 million is still a huge number. Kaya nga nagkaroon ng successor ang PSP, yung PS Vita. Just to put it into perspective, the PSP sold more than the Nintendo 3DS, the Xbox One, and even the NES, or kung sa atin tawagin, ang family computer. Sa case natin dito sa Pilipinas, nung kasikatan ng PSP, mas cool ka pagka naka-PSP ka kaysa sa naka-Nintendo DS. Kasi yung perception natin pagka DS pambata. Malaki din ang naging following ng Sony sa bansa natin with the success of the PS1 and the PS2. So nung na-announce na magkakaroon ng isang portable na PlayStation, marami talaga sa mga Pinoy ang na-hype dito. Imagine, ganito ang graphics sa previous handheld generation. And from that, tatalon siya sa ganito. Full 3D graphics. Talagang mapapawaw ka at the time dahil madadala mo na ang PlayStation experience on the go. Now let's take a look at the design. The PSP console has a 4.3-inch LCD screen with a 480 by 272 pixel resolution. May built-in speaker siya and meron din siyang headphone jack. Very similar ang button layout niya sa PlayStation controller. So kung user ka na ng PlayStation, hindi ka na masyadong mahihirapan sa mga controls. Ayos na ayos ang feel ng triangle, square, cross, and circle buttons ng PSP and yung kanyang D-pad as well as yung L and R buttons. May isang analog stick siya and honestly, medyo uncomfortable siya pagka matagal gamitin. It's made with hard plastic, not even rubberized. This was improved sa PS Vita with another analog stick being added. Dahil nga isa lang ang analog, for a game like Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, you have to control both movement and camera at the same time with just your left hand. In Monster Hunter, this game is quite popular in the Philippines. Other buttons include the select and start button, a button for mute and unmute, a button for brightness, volume buttons, and the home button. Now for the PSP 3000, may microphone na siya, something the original PSP Fat and the PSP Slim didn't have. The PSP 3000 was also known as the PSP Bright because of an improved LCD screen and an anti-reflective technology that reduces outdoor glare. The PSP 3000 also makes it possible to output games in either composite or component video with the video out cable. You have the memory stick duo slot on the left and the PSP makes it very easy to access. On the right, you have your on and off switch, which can also be your sleep and wake button. You also have a button for the battery cover, and this lets you access the battery pack. You can have interchangeable batteries, which is useful for long trips and long flights. And if you see here, this has a 1200 mAh battery pack. Originally, this was advertised as having anywhere from 3 to 6 hours of play, but because of battery degradation, that will probably be lower. Buti na lang makakakita ka pa rin ng mga battery packs sa ilang mga stall like Santa Lucia Mall, and I guess sa Green Hills. Since nasa likod na rin tayo, meron ditong disc tray for UMD disc. But majority of the Filipinos who own this handheld played games and media through the memory card. Sobrang daling i-hack ng PSP even back in the day na supported pa ang console. Kaya nga pagpunta mo sa mga mall kung may mga stall ng cellphone, may mga pa-download din ng PSP games and movies. Ngayon, dahil bumilis-bilis na ang internet natin dito sa Pilipinas, mas madali na mag-download ng games. On the top, you have a dedicated on and off button for wireless connections and a mini USB slot. With a mini USB cable, you can use that to connect the PSP to your computer. Now, the PSP had several models. The PSP Fat, the PSP Slim, the PSP Bright, PSP Go, and the lesser-known PSP Street, which lacks Wi-Fi capability. These days, if you're thinking of getting one for the experience, or perhaps you want to relive the classic handheld, I think that the best one to get is either the PSP 3000 or the PSP 2000. It's lighter and smaller than the original PSP, and they also have video out. On the other hand, compared to the PSP Go, it still has a slot for UMD, an easily replaceable battery, and an expandable storage. Tumingin naman tayo sa games na pwede mong malaro sa PSP. There are over 1,000 games that you can play. May mga JRPG, action RPG, shooters, rhythm games, fighting games, and so many more. Personally, I like Tekken 5 and 6, the Patapon series. You had the big square games like Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, Final Fantasy VII's prequel, Final Fantasy Crisis Core, as well as one of the best tactical RPGs, Final Fantasy Tactics: The War of the Lions. There's the fighting game Dissidia, Final Fantasy, and Dissidia 012, which were much better games than the PS4 sequel, Dissidia NT. Nandyan din ang big Rockstar games like Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories, Vice City Stories, and Chinatown Wars. May dalawang God of War games like Ghost of Sparta, pati yung Chains of Olympus. There were so many games for this handheld. Add to that, pwede ka rin maglaro ng PS1 classics. The PSP is also a classic homebrew beast. Yes, phones these days are quite capable of running emulators, but the PSP has tactile buttons. No need to get a separate Bluetooth controller. And unlike the Nintendo Switch, kasyang-kasya sa bulsa ang PSP. You can play Nintendo games on the PSP from the NES, SNES, Game Boy, and Game Boy Advance. Graphics-wise, kapasa-pasa pa rin naman ang PSP in 2021 standards as a mobile gaming device. Pero, napakalit na ng display nito. But syempre, napakalaki din ng improvements if you jump into something more modern like the Nintendo Switch Lite. So ngayon 2021, saan ba pwede makakuha ng PSP? Meron mga binibenta sa mga Facebook groups, meron sa Carousel, even sa Lazada or Shopee, but these are second-hand consoles. 2014 pa nung natigil ang production ng PSP, and if you come across a PSP that is still sealed, for sure, mahal ang benta dyan. On the second-hand market, I think it's a good deal if you can get a PSP at around 2,000 to 3,000 pesos. Better syempre kung lower. But if you ask me, the PS Vita can do so much more. Yes, mas successful ang PSP versus the PS Vita, but the hardware is so much better with the newer console, which isn't really new anymore since natigil na rin ang production ng Vita noong 2019. The advantage of the PS Vita is that you can also play PSP games, nakaangat na yung kanyang analog kaya mas komportable igalaw, and you can remap controls to the second analog stick. Pwede kang maglagay ng Adrenaline software sa isang modded PS Vita para makalaro ng PSP and PS1 games. And when it comes to memory cards, meron ng PS Vita adapters like SD to Vita, which makes it more cheaper to get higher storage for games. Yun lang, sa second-hand market, sobrang taas pa rin ng value ng PS Vita. The cheapest going for 4,500 for the PS Vita Fat. So, if talaga nasa budget ka and you just want to complete your classic handheld collection, you can get the PSP. But, if you want something that does more, then you can also consider the PS Vita. Of course, if you have a capable phone or computer, you can play PSP games by the PPSSPP emulator. Just make sure that you have a good processor para konting lag. For the best experience, get an external controller like the ones from 8-bit though, or meron rin mga controller from iPega which converts your phone into sort of a Nintendo Switch. Kumbaga, pang collection purposes na rin talaga ang PSP in 2021. So guys, are you considering getting a PSP in 2021? What are your favorite PSP games? Just leave it in the comments down below. And with that, I think we're done. If you found this video helpful, interesting, or entertaining, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel, then hit on that notification bell for more content just like this. Again, I'm Zach, and this is GG Fistbump.